Okay. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. I'm glad that you could all join us on a Wednesday evening. So I'm Kuhu Chauhan, and I oversee admissions and outreach at ISPP. Over the past few weeks, we have received an overwhelming number of requests from prospective students, policy enthusiasts eager to connect with our alumni, curious to learn about their journeys, their transition into the field, and their experiences at ISPP. So here we are today, creating this space for a meaningful dialogue, honest conversations, and of course, the opportunity for you to ask them anything. So let me introduce you to our alumni and panelists for today's discussion. Meet Snehal Thakre, an ISPP alumnus. Snehal is a policy researcher and strategist with experience in public policy, program training, and advocacy. As an associate research and program training professional at the Center for Civil Society, she has been instrumental in shaping impactful policy discussions. With a strong background in project management, stakeholder engagement, and research, Snehal has contributed to initiatives like the Viksit Bharat Flagship Report and collaborated with organizations such as Global Shapers Mumbai and the Pehchan the Street School to drive meaningful change. Her deep understanding of policy research, advocacy, and community development allows her to bring unique perspectives and valuable insights to today's webinar. Welcome, Snehal. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Guru, for this opportunity.
And then we have Mr. Aditya Sinha, who is also an ISPP alumnus and a policy strategist with a first principle approach to problem solving. With experience in policy analysis, stakeholder engagement, and strategic development, he excels at connecting ideas, people, and actionable solutions. Currently a senior associate at We Communicate, Aditya has led high-impact research initiatives, organized influential summits, and facilitated critical policy discussions. His multidisciplinary perspectives and result-driven approach make him a valuable voice in today's webinar. Welcome, Aditya. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kuhu.
So I think, as I said in my introduction, also, we have received a lot of requests from people to connect with the alumni. And the basic question that I have received from a lot of candidates is, we are not from the policy background, or people come from different backgrounds, some who are slightly related to the field, who are not remotely related to the field. So my first question, I think Snehal, I want to ask you if you can just, help us understand your background and how did you transition into the field of public policy?
Sure. So basically, I come from engineering background. Like I've done my master's in electronics and telecommunication. And then after preparation, after teaching few years and doing preparation for UPSC, I transitioned into public policy because the thought and the idea was, and thankfully to ISPP, because the mentors which I found here had motivated me to achieve my goal of doing something good for the public. Now, something I did not understand, I just had a clear mindset of getting into UPSC, bagging a IAS or IPS job, and then doing what needed to be done for the country. But life has its ups and downs as well. So yes, definitely the experience was good because of the learnings which I got in over the transition years from ISPP as well. Because if ISPP wouldn't have been there, I don't think so where I would have been. So yeah, I mean, yes, ISPP has helped me transition into the field very safely in the sense, because the programs which they carry on, how they help us, build confidence, talk to each other, interact with the government officials, because sometimes it is nuanced in the mind that how am I supposed to do it. Being an engineer also, I faced a lot because, doing technical work was very different, and coming here, it has been a very different experience though. But yes, the preparation which ISPP had made me build, the bedrock which they had given me, had really helped me traverse very calmly. And yes, that's all I would like to add on. And if there is anything more, I will add on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Snehal. Aditya, I would like to ask you the same question. If you can help us understand a little about your background and your transition into the field of public policy.
Thank you, Kuhu. Snehal has put up a lot of valid points that I think all of us face when you transition from one field to another. It is not just about coming to public policy, but when we look at other subject in humanities too, coming from a science background to a non-science subject, you do face certain hurdles in justifying as to why you are making that switch. For me, it was not so difficult because my educational background itself is varied. I did my bachelor's in economics, honors in economics. Then I did a master's degree in public administration. Then I did a master's degree again in economics. And then I did a third master's, which was in social work. And then I came to ISPP.
Oh,
So, all along the way, I was asked this question as to why such a varied background. And it is, no, it is easy to say that I can connect the dots looking backwards, but no, it was not so random. The reason behind taking each and every step along this way was the requirement that the job had at that time. Economics, it taught me to value the resources. From there, I went into social work itself. Then again, when I started working in social work, which was back in 2016, after 2 years of experience, they wanted me to lead a district program. For that, the state manager said that you need to have a certain degree in administration. So I did public administration. Then I progressed a bit from there, and they wanted me to head projects as to the planning part, how you plan a project, how you implement it, and how you evaluate it. Therein, I thought that I need certain skills which a master's in economics would give me the best. So I did that. After that, and this was in 2019, right before the lockdown. I was having a conversation with one of my colleagues, and she said that in order to be in this field, I think it would be good if you have a master's degree in social work. I know this is going to sound wrong, but for me, the timing of the pandemic was right. Just as soon as I took my admission, the entire nation went into the lockdown, and sorry for putting it that way, but I utilized those 2 years. And those 2 years gave me a lot to think about. See, the way I see social work is it's patchwork. To be honest, it is patchwork. No, we are working 24/7 all around the year on the ground to address certain issues, but the same issues keep cropping up again and again. So what we are doing here is patchwork. That is something which I did not want to do. So while studying for my master's in social work, I started thinking about how I can make solutions permanent. And that is how I came to public policy. That is how I came to Indian School of Public Policy. Before taking admission, I got in touch with certain alums. No, in one of sessions like these, I got in touch with certain alums. I reached out to Professor Gangopadhyay. I reached out to Parth. They taught me that what you are looking for, if you are willing to make that choice, if you are willing to spend the next 7 years on the ground and then build yourself up, then policy is the right space for you. No, we come here, we talk about change, we talk about building systems, and all of that is true, but those things happen after say 7 or 10 years spent into the field. For the first 5, 7, 10 years, you have to put your nose to the grind. You have to write reports, you have to go to the field, you have to spend nights and days and hours on stretch preparing reports, making arguments, collecting data. And all those tasks require a formal training. That training and that guidance is where ISPP helped me a lot. And didn't want to point it out then, but my introduction has changed a bit. I used to be with We Communicate, but as of 2 months ago, I'm now an independent consultant, and I'm working with four firms, four different projects. One of which was in Jammu and Kashmir. Right now, it has been put on hold. So why make the switch? No, from VK to being an independent consultant, because it gives me the opportunity. It gives me the opportunity to do exactly what ISPP has trained me for. No, on one hand, I'm working on education. On the other hand, I'm working on consumer rights and awareness. On the third, I'm working towards how you can utilize a journal to build a movement for change. So as a policy professional, your field doesn't stay the same. You are exposed to varied field, project wise, every client wise, and that is something you need professional training for. And that is where ISPP has helped me a lot. It has prepared me to address these challenges on the go.
thank you, Aditya, for sharing the journey, and also my apologies. I think I'm too
No,
dependent,
it's
heavily
on me.
dependent on LinkedIn these days.
It's on me.
Get the
No
time to
worries.
discuss with you in person.
Sure.
Having said that, and understanding how public policy and the transitioning into public policy for both of you a little varied, but of course the gist of it remains the same. And while I was actually going through some of your work, both of you, about both of your works, so Snehal, this I wanted to ask you this: like you volunteered with organizations like Global Shapers Mumbai and Beti Foundation, how that shaped your perspective on public affairs?
So basically, I'll start with my experience with Pehchan, the street school, and Beti Foundation. So how the education, I wanted to be part of education system because I am an educationist. I have taught people from engineering background, right, from, and also students from 5th to 10th standard for various subjects. So I understood their issues, I understood their problems because one of the thing I remembered was one of my students who was a very brilliant student, but the education transition that happened in his life was the phonetic symbols and whatever the pronunciations you used for that particular transition was very difficult for him. And he used to make a lot of spelling mistakes. So, this is a very small issue, but that has a repercussion on his career and his building, like because that is the human resource that we tend to build in India. So I think the policies are well connected with the dots accordingly. So that gave my interest into public policy as well. That built me. Why not I change, or why not I be the part of change where I can influence some policy? So this was related to education, and something related to climate as is also very near to my heart because after coming to Delhi and facing the crisis of water, especially, has kind of built my aura in that field. That I tend to save a lot of water every day. Lot of, I don't know how much people save, but I have tried a lot since 5 years I've been in Delhi, and I save a single drop of water. How much I can save? So that pushed me into Global Shapers because they gave me an opportunity. And recently in Global Shapers also gave me a very good opportunity. I got married recently, and my wedding was a sustainable wedding, and they gave me an opportunity to face that and how I built. So transitioning into public policy to ISPP, and then getting learning how the transition is like. Aditya mentioned economics, how adequacy has to be done. Different phases of policy making has been and how it is being implemented has been taught at ISP. So this experience and these things helped me jot down my points at the sustainable wedding which I carried on, and it was really good experience because I never thought I would make it, and I was very happy and proud of myself that I was able to make it. And although the team was also very helped me a lot, the Global Shapers Mumbai team, they also helped me a lot. So that was the experience there. And then third experience I will try to tell about is at my work at Center for Civil Society. So there I had been handling researching reality program as a program coordinator, and then as a program lead for STEM scholarship program of PNG, Procter and Gamble. So the experience has been very varied, but again I'll come back to ISPP because they had given me a ground, substantial ground for different aspects and different policy making tools, subjects, and everything that has helped me a lot in my transition because I right now I don't have to run for the solutions everywhere. I know the solution. I just need to streamline it and focus it on that particular project so that it gets advanced according to that project. So yes, I mean there is different versions of me going everywhere, and like Aditya also said, being an independent consultant, I would also love to be that. But right now, my main focus is getting an experience so that I can traverse accordingly. So yes, I mean ISPP has been a very crucial step for me, and also I would like to bring on the mentorship thing that ISPP carries because Lewis has been my mentor, Parth has been my mentor, and other professors like SG and Ladha sir, Dr. OP Agrawal. They have quite shaped my mindset also because a right mindset leads to right paths. I feel because policy is not just making a policy, but it has to be implemented on the ground. So I feel that the stage which ISPP has gave me, the confidence that they gave me is phenomenal. And again, building it on it, sometimes people are maybe the scholars who are trying to apply for it, who want to know more about us. The stage which they provide and the confidence they provide, I'm really, really thankful for that. And especially, I was also in doubt how how am I going to, survive in this world? Because UPSC was an option. I never thought of plan B, to be frank. The guidance which I needed, maybe I did not get a guide, because coming from Maharashtra, Amravati, a place where people just ran behind UPSC, and this was my childhood dream. So giving up on a childhood dream was a very, very traumatic, you can say, because it sticks to you. For long. So yeah, but definitely Parth and Lewis made me see the other side of the table as well. I joined the Lokniti course of ISPP in order to understand what is public policy, because I was also new to the field. I did not have any idea about it. But similar to what I learned at the subjects which I learned while preparing for UPSC, they were quite aligned with whatever the subjects we are going through, but very, very detailed and nuanced to the what public policy is made. So accordingly, the path was shaped, and that helped me a lot. So yes, that's all from my side.
Thank you, Snehal. The two things that I think I took from your, experiences. One, I love the sustainable wedding part. I would like to know more about it, but I'll call you for that. That's something good. There are very few people who actually work for it and implement that in their personal lives. So I think if you're an example of it, that should be highlighted to the world, because very few people do that. Second of all, when you said that you were preparing for UPSC as well, and it was your childhood dream, and then you're transitioning into the field of public policy. So that is something I think a lot of current scholars and a lot of current students who are graduates or who have given an attempt of one or second two attempts of UPSC. And of course, there is a lot of positivity, there is a lot of hope about UPSC as a prospective career path.
Yeah.
Having said that, of course, when you shared your own example that you transitioned into the field of public policy, you looked at the other side of the table, and then you figured out how to make a social impact to working with CCS as a program manager. Just one thing which you have already answered, but so this entire career trajectory, which I feel is, which from your words, I believe is fulfilling. What do you have to say? Choosing a path of public policy. I won't say leaving your childhood dream, but yes, looking at other options of actually doing the work that you wanted to do by, getting that job role of your childhood dream, doing the same work, maybe through a different channel.
Yeah.
So how would you, if you have to sum up in one line, was it fulfilling, or do you have any regrets or any thoughts about it?
So basically, I do not have any regrets right now, because the transition which I have seen myself in the 1 year of ISPP journey has been, I mean, you should talk to more people, because they know me, what trauma I was going through, what, thingy, because UPSC thing was not falling in place. And after putting a lot of effort, sometimes you start self-doubting yourself. So that's the fear that ISPP made me feel confident about, that I need not be afraid of. And the path which you are trying to, like you asked me, is like, it has been very fulfilling, because I am doing what I love. I like to communicate with people. I like to, solve issues. It's not that I am able to solve 100% of issues, but I feel, okay, I played an important role in just motivating them, motivating the girls. For the example, the PNG project, Betiya Shiksha project, which I was talking about, I met these girls on ground, and I had a very beautiful experience, because going through all over India, like there were 7 states which we visited, and then, went through all of the different perspectives of people, the girls, especially the girls, and how their mindset was, they wanted to achieve something anyhow, whatever the restrictions were there. And this made me feel a lot positive. Okay, I said I'm on the right track, and that is what the word fulfillment gives me right now, because the girls, the brightest, like, the brightest of the minds, and their smiles and everything carried a lot for me. And that positivity and hope makes me go on again and again. So I'm very happy with the experience which I have. So yeah, and it's still not, I won't say it's fulfilling completely yet, but I do want to go on this path, continue on this path, and get my satisfaction. So I am satisfied right now, but yes, more impact has to be done. So a lot of years are left to do something good.
Perfect. Thank you, Snehal. Now I'll be shifting my lens to Aditya. Aditya, since you mentioned that you are now a individual consultant, you're, consulting for different organizations. So how do you approach stakeholder engagement, and what challenges you face in building coalitions?
That's a that's a good question. I was either way planning on addressing that, building coalitions and engaging with stakeholders. Uh, See, the first problem is that when you hear those two words, they sound very daunting. You think, "Ki, how will I be able to address that?" And as Snehal said it rightfully, self-doubt is always a companion. Anytime that you're taking up a new project, you will be doubting yourself, "Ki, am I capable enough of handling this or not?" But and I'm glad that you mentioned Professor Ladha. So it was in Professor Ladha's class that I got the answers to these questions well before they presented themselves to me as a problem. See, when we talk about coalition building in game theory, Professor Ladha has taught us about collective action. When he teaches about Chrysler goes to Congress, he talks about collective action. He talks about how to map out stakeholders, how to engage with them. So that one particular case study has been with me for the last 2 years now, 2.5 years since I started working from ISPP itself too. So when we talk about first coalition building, you have to focus on the end goal, not the stakeholders. You have to focus on why you are building the coalition. I mean, there's FICCI, there's CII, there are other regional bodies. I mean, I'm skipping some names, but all of them are good. So why would they be joining your coalition? See, the first thing is when you talk to stakeholders now, they'll ask you, if there's a FICCI, why do I need you? So in a FICCI or in a CII, there are hundreds and thousands of members. Whenever they send out a representation, it is more aligned to a general expectation of the industry, not individual expectations. Just for example's sake, hypothetically speaking, if there is say automobile industry and FMCG industry, and they're talking about reducing their carbon footprint, so a representation can go for that the industries want to take a pledge and donate so and so amount for this particular cause. So that's something that FICCI and CIA do extremely well. But we talk about a coalition that a individual consultant can pitch an idea for. So we talk about automobile industries. Okay, so there are 2 or 3 big players. What is their pain point? Then we talk about scrapping of vehicles. And I'm lucky that you asked this question, because this is one of the projects that I'm working on, scrapping of vehicles. So then you start talking to individual stakeholders. You go to a big two-wheeler company, one of the largest actually, and you tell them that if you support this initiatives, it will have a twofold benefit for you. The first, you get to work on your building a sustainable future vision, and the second, more the vehicles are scrapped, more you will have raw materials, processed raw materials for your MRF material recovery facility, and the more new vehicles will be sold. Since vehicles are being taken off the road, new vehicles will be brought in. So then you start targeting what every individual stakeholder has as their benefit. Now that is just one part of stakeholder engagement. In any coalition, you need to have different sections of stakeholder brought together. So we have addressed the industry. Now we come to the government. For this, one of the people that we are talking to is someone in Ministry of Transport, Road Transport and Highways, MORTH. So we are going to them with the same thing, that it is not just about taking vehicles off the road and scrapping them. It is about emission norms. It is about reducing greenhouse gases. It is about bringing in BS6 and further. It is about making space for cars that will eventually use hydrogen as a fuel. So when you're talking about stakeholder mapping, you have to find out what every stakeholder's point of interest is and how you can connect them. If we four are here, something that connects us is ISPP. Counting Kuhu's notebook as the fourth participant, sorry, the three of us. So if three of us are here, the ISPP is the common denominator. But since ISPP, the three of us have went in 3 different directions, right? But here we are together. We are stakeholders, but ISPP connects us. So ISPP is the coalition, and we all have some interest, being an alumni, being someone who is hosting this webinar. So that is how you look at stakeholder engagement too. You can't just go out and meet anyone. You have to justify their time too. If you go out and meet them, they'll give you half an hour to 60 minutes, and you have to justify their time. as to why you are meeting them, what is going to be the next step. Something that social work has helped me a lot with, that we were always taught about pre-planning and planning before execution and evaluation. So pre-planning and planning means that you don't just think through your ideas, you also think about what can possibly go wrong. So if I have an idea, so I also have to think about, okay, this can go wrong. What will be my contingency? So if I'm looking for a sponsorship for this coalition, so if one of the participants decides to opt out and say, okay, I'll just test the waters for a month, where can I then get this funding from? So I can think about going to a civil society organization that is working on environment, clean air, air pollution, surrounding areas, and say that this is one of the programs that I am interested in working with you. If we join hands together, you'll have the opportunity to be one of the founding members. And here's the first 6-month strategy. And here are the first set of activities that we'll do in 12 months. So you always have to think through your ideas. Stakeholder engagement and coalition building are stakeholder engagement is a tool, coalition building is an end, but you have to justify towards what is your eventual goal that you are doing this for. Coming back to Professor Ladha's class, Chrysler did go to Congress, but they went to Congress for a bailout, right? Before asking for the bailout, they had their entire mapping ready, who they can count on, who will oppose them, what will be the points for those who are opposing them, what will be the points for who are supporting them. Has any of either two parties ever changed their opinion? What has brought the change in the opinion? Who will be the impacted set of stakeholder? How much is the loss? How much is the gain? How much is the effort to bring about action? So game theory, that's game theory. Game theory has helped me a lot. Sorry, I extended the answer.
I think everybody was a bit into it, the way you were explaining the entire process to us. And I think it is important for everybody to understand when, even see, I'm not from a policy background, but these words have now become, a normal terminology when we talk about stakeholder engagement, when we talk about building coalitions, and to understand in the depth what it is. I think you explained it beautifully.
Glad
Can
to
you
be
hear
of
me?
service. Glad to be of service. I can hear you. I can hear you fine.
Okay, perfect.
Hmm.
And now, next thing, I think few of our prospective students, since they are, few of them are from the field, some of them are new to the field, and then they wanted to understand how would we understand what our call is. When because see, this is what I have observed when anybody who joins ISPP in the first and the second term, you try and understand about public policy, the nitty-gritties of public policy, and by then you have an understanding of what and where you want to head on. Having said that, there is so much of mental simulation that you uh, you tend to question everything, that every norm that you had in your mind, every norm that you had in your mind, you can say every thought process. Oh, there are so many possibilities, and there are so many fields that I can explore onto. So anybody of you who would like to explain it, because there are current scholars, there are few prospective scholars who actually, they have the right inclination to join public policy. The only thing that scares them, or make it, they become a little skeptical that we are interested in public policy, but how to go about it? Which domain would I, which domain would be more fruitful for me? I am interested in this, but I'm interested in this also, right? With the experiences that I've heard from the previous current scholars, alumni, so I think you guys would be the best people to answer that. So the floor is open to both of you.
Snail, would you like to go first?
Sure. So basically, I'll tell you my dilemma, which I faced while selecting the domains in the last term of ISPP. The thing was that I was an educationist, I was teaching students, so everyone thought I would take education as a domain. But I didn't want it to have it because I wanted to explore other opportunities as well. I wanted to keep a window open for me with environment as a domain, then technology as a domain, and then urbanization as a domain. because I feel all the policies are interconnected. Even if you do not take part or, into any other domain, but still some way or the other around that comes to you back, because since all the policies are quite connected to each other. Maybe you take a scrappage. Just now, Aditya also mentioned the scrappage vehicle, scrapping the vehicle policy. That is related to urbanization, because urbanization is also getting influenced by the number of vehicles on the road in an urban city or metropolitan city, right? So I feel all the policies which are connected to each other. So choosing a domain, maybe you have some things in mind, so people should go and have an experience of that. And I took a domain which I did not have an experience of, because I wanted to have a broader theme on my hand. And also, public policy is not a field sticking to one part. Like also Aditya's experience and my experience, and we had been playing a diverse role. I feel every opportunity and every learning does matter here, and it gets involved, incorporated, and helps you out. To sustain in the field, and helps you out to have solutions that are way beyond your expectation, because having knowledge of different fields and collating them together and putting them right in the right path is definitely an achievement. So I feel just putting yourself or stressing about it, what field of domain or field or domain we should choose on, you should go with the flow, because some way or the other round it will come back. Like I'll give you my example only, because since I'm working in education, like I told you, I did not take an education domain, but right now I'm getting an opportunity where education and environment is being connected. So CCS is sending me somewhere for that particular training, and I feel very obliged and happy about it, because I never expected that education and these two domains will collaborate. And also coming from the tech background, I also felt that I should be at the center circle, like ed tech or technology, because education and technology has been my field. And again, climate change is a thing which I wanted to work on. Like I said, sustainable wedding and this thing, putting that into practice also helped me a lot. So having knowledge of different sectors and different domains is definitely going to help it, and you need not stress about it, because some way or the other way you're going to learn that at ISPP through different courses. Or also, I got an opportunity to sit in the class of Imran for food systems, which was another domain at my time. So basically, I just sat there and I wanted to learn. No one at ISPP is stopping you to sit in the domain. So I feel that it's better if you focus on 4 or 5, whatever the number of domains they ask for, and then you can select your domain. And knowledge is not running anywhere. So you can take knowledge as much as you have a lot of good professors, they'll help you out. And ISPP also has given list of things you should refer to on YouTube, the free courses, or what are available online as well. So that helps a lot to build your respective domain. So you're not stressed out about what domain you should take, but at least be contentful or satisfied. Like exactly what I'm learning is full of satisfaction, and I'm going to implement that. So that thought process, I think that would be very helpful. I mean, that helped me a lot. So I wish people also think that way, and yeah, move ahead.
Perfect. Aditya, what are your thoughts on the same?
I agree with what Snehal said. What I think is that, see, if you look at it solely point from the POV of what domain should I pick, I don't think you are going to get an answer there. Rather think of it this way: what skills can I acquire from each of those domains? That would be a better way. And if it is in your interest, I would say that take as many domains as you can. There is a lot of cross-functional knowledge, cross-functional learnings that happen in those places. Back when I was at ISPP, I took education, urbanization, and infrastructure as my domain. I used to sit in classes of defense because it was one of my areas of interest. Most of the work that I do, it's largely based on economics and game theory. But why do I value the domains? Because they gave me exposure to what problems are, what real life problems are, what stakeholders can I use when I start working upon. For me, domains were more like buckets of knowledge that I can use whenever required. I have engaged quite a lot with the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, obviously through my urbanization domain. But then again, I've, I mean, it would be wrong to just limit yourself. Ki, "Okay, I'll take this domain and I'll focus here." You can do that if you are clear in your thinking from day one that this is the exact job that I want to take. This is the exact field that I want to go into. If that's the case, then you can no limit your domains. But if you are someone who is walking in, who's trying to understand public policy, don't limit your domains. Rather focus on ki if in urbanization they are talking about city planning, maybe I can learn how to plan from there. If in infrastructure they are talking about railways and how they manage their network, maybe I can learn that from there. In education, if they are talking about how root cause analysis is done, maybe that's the skill that I can take. In defense, if they are talking about geopolitical affairs, maybe that's a skill that I can learn, how to talk to diverse stakeholders where interests are not aligned. So look at it that way. That's when, and this is my thought, that's when you start enjoying public policy. When you start working, it is not going to be that if you're urbanization, then you're going to be working in this area. If you're a policy professional, you are a policy professional. You are going to be exposed to n number of areas, even if you pick one domain. I mean, Snehal would know this better. Being a part of CCS, I don't think she puts a cap on the number of activities that she does. She does any and everything that CCS requires. Initially, and I agree, initially it is going to feel like a lot, house of bricks collapsing on you, all the domains at once plus the other assignments. But trust me, it's going to pay off. It's going to pay off when you sit for your first job interview and you impress the interviewee with your cross functional knowledge. So go for the domains that interest you, keep reading, and focus on the skills that you can take from every particular domain. That is the way to go, according to me.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Snehal. So I think the crux of it is accumulate knowledge, learn from every quarter, and it will definitely benefit you. Having said that, this is something I think a little bit generic also. And but this is something like a lot of candidates also stumble upon. And this is something that I think you guys would be the best people again to answer. If somebody who, like, what advice would you give somebody who is considering ISPP as a stepping stone into public policy? With current time, see, everybody, there are so many options, there are so many career fields, and public policy still is a niche segment. It is evolving. So somebody who's choosing public policy and who's choosing ISPP as a stepping stone into the field of public policy, what advice would you give to them?
Snehal, please, after you.
Okay. Like who I said, there are people coming from different backgrounds and then, different time experiences, different journey. So the advice which I would like to give them is, weigh your every aspect of your life, like whether it be a time, whether it be your experience, your studies, how much time are you ready to invest, and what are your cost, like we are also taught cost benefit analysis at ISPP. So what are your cost benefit analysis that you should do? And I feel ISPP is a really good place where people build a lot of connections. I have gone, like I had also been approached by many other scholars from different, like they wanted to, like, there is different schools of which are also coming into public policy field. And since this is a nuanced field, I feel the experiences which you gather is very important. How you focus how you jot down your pros and cons. Basically, you should jot down your pros and cons, like what exactly, like Aditya also said, for example, the domain thing. You take that into consideration. Okay, I want to work in this domain and this much time period I have. So why not ISPP? Because ISPP also produces a lot of provides a lot of knowledge on ground knowledge as well, and theoretical, and it's a balance of both the approaches. So I think your approach should be very balanced on it, and then weighing your pros and cons accordingly, and then taking admission into the nuanced field, also building your reading, like Aditya also mentioned, reading a lot, because that also helps you a lot, clarify your doubts, and um, clarify your own doubts and issues whatever you face. And the third thing I would like to tell is, like, instead of listening and getting influenced by what others are telling, definitely our experience also matters, but that they should give a well-known, well thought to what exactly, why they exactly want to be the part of public and how much they are ready to invest into that. So I feel that quite gives you clarity on how much time we want to allot to it and how much strategically we are involved into the thing. And that again, ISPP provides a very good platform for building all these skills. Like Aditya also mentioned in all the examples, that skill building is very important. And that's why building your skills is very important. And it need not be a very short period of time or a long period of time. You have to put a lot of efforts, and continuous efforts are very important. Like you can't just go on bringing, अच्छा आज मैंने game theory 2 घंटा पढ़ ली और मेरा काम हो गया. So that is also not a thingy that has to be done. So you have to be very consistent and persistent while deciding the things. And once you have that in mind, I think that would be, that gives you more clarity on why you should pick the ISPP and why you should go with the different domains and subjects, whatever you like. Because everyone provides a lot of knowledge, but a structured knowledge is very necessary. So that can be weighed according to the pros and cons, what I want to, like what a person wants to.
Thank you, Snehal. Aditya, over to you.
Neil has put it really well. I don't think there's much that I can add, just two things mostly, I think. The first is, see, you're coming to ISCP, so you have already made your decision of going into public policy, right? So right now you should be thinking about what are the tools that I'll be needing once I graduate from this institution, once I start sitting for interviews, when I start working a job, what are the tools I'll be needing? And that is where the advantage rather of ISPP lies, because it equips you with precisely the tools that you'll need to make your life easy. There are soft skills like networking, talking to people, giving an interview, presenting a case. And then there are hard skills like data analysis, using softwares like SPSS, R, Strata. Then there is economic modeling. Economic modeling, if you're interested, then you can go for it. Then there's also making presentations, which is a soft skill again. But then those are the skills that you're going to be mostly using. Obviously, you have to do a lot of independent thinking too. And that is where SG, Dr. Gangopadhyay's economic classes have come to use. So in anything and everything that you do, you'll need to have a reservoir of knowledge, be it you are brainstorming for a new plan. So you'll need to have a pool of ideas where to pick from. If you want to test something, okay, this is something that I'm thinking about doing, who do I talk to? You can come back to ISP and talk to your peers, talk to your teachers, talk to the juniors, present it and say, what's your opinion? So that's an opportunity that ISPP offers. No, most of the projects that I am working on, I make use of game theory. So the benefit of ISPP is that it equips you with precisely what you need. One of the reasons why this happens is because ISPP continuously takes feedback from its outgoing batch working alums as to what they think should be added to the curriculum. That is something unique to ISPP. No other educational institute who is teaching policy does that. No, I've come across alums from other institutes too. See, if there's what's your alternatives? You can go for a 2-year course, right? So there are many people who have done those 2 years course that I work with, and they say कि यार it was better कि ISPP कर लेते, 1 साल पहले काम शुरू कर देते. Jokes aside, why are they saying that? Because public policy is not something कि आपने 2 साल पढ़ा और हो गया. It is something that you practice. It is something that you grow into as much as you work. ISPP also, and this was the second point. ISPP allows you to come back. No, anytime you've hit a wall, you can come back to ISPP and discuss it with your teachers that, okay, this is what I'm working on. This is where I've hit a wall. There are a couple of research projects that I've worked with ISPP on. One of them was with Imran. We also tied into JNU for that later on. There was a project that I discussed with Dr. Gangopadhyay. So that's the benefit that ISPP has offered me. Anytime that you hit a wall, you can come back and say, okay, this is where I'm stuck and I'm looking for a solution. What can be the way through? I mean, they don't spoon feed you, but they do teach you how to think. They don't teach you that, have you looked at it this way? No. If you bring it to me, this is what I would have done. And again, in my experience, that is something that you only get at ISPP. And this is coming from someone who has studied at 5 institutions. So trust me when I'm saying this, you get this only at ISPP.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you for putting it beautifully. Thank you, Snehal, again for putting it so beautifully. And I think this would be my last question. And this is something again that is a recurrent query. Not, I wouldn't say a query, a concern, but from students also, from their parents as well, that we are putting so much for the course. The segment is niche, right? It is still evolving. So talking about career training and placements. That is something people, students, their parents are a little concerned also, which is a fair point of concern as well, right? So when, like, what would be, I really don't like to use the term, but in the past 2 3 days I have heard it a lot, so I'm using the same, that what would be the ROI? So this is something that has been asked to me, right? So and I think since you guys have studied the course, you're in the industry, you are the people who are having the first hand experience of it. So in terms of careers placement, the kind of support in terms of both career training and placement that ISPP's placement cell try and provide, if you can, throw some light on that, because I think that is a concern for both the students also and for the parents as well. Who would like to go first? Snail, shall we start with you?
Okay, sure. So basically, like Aditya previously also mentioned in your previous question, that ISPP has been very dynamic because it takes the feedbacks from the students or
Yeah.
scholars who are passing out, and then it rebuilds on it and provides us the best suitable, situation at that particular time. So my experience during my journey was like this, that people face, because market is also driven with a lot of uncertainty. We also learned that about market uncertainty. Uh, what are the job roles available? And then again, you hear about all sort of okay, the market is residing or market is booming according to job roles. So basically, what my batch wanted was an internship opportunity, and that was agreed to by the dean at that time as well. And this kind of gave us, most of us a place to learn more things. Example, working on multiple projects. Internship has played a lot of important role in my batch's life, because we not every internship got converted into the replacement offer, but certainly it gives them in hands of experience, and most of them got converted into replacement. So I feel, since this is again a nuanced field and niche field, but the support that training and placement and all the members of that particular sector, like training and placement in our ISPP, provides the help, because you can just dial up and call them and ask them. Like Aditya also mentioned that Parth, Lewis have been already. We can come back to ISPP again and again. Similar goes with the training and placement cell as well. We can come back, we can talk to them, and we can, ask them, okay, this is what I have done. Like, and especially Siddharth has been very, very helpful for my batch as well. I don't know what time he joined, if whether he was available at Aditya's time, I don't know. But since he was a part of training and placement cell, he usually took one-on-one personal connect with every scholar. He tried to solve their the experience which he already had. He also was from a UPSC background, so we could connect well with him. And the way he put things in front of me, okay, आप ये कर लेना, आप इसको ऐसे आप approach कर सकते हो. So that kind of builds your confidence also. And the other thing is, like, ISPP provides you with a lot of support. That's not an issue at all. You can come back again and again, and you can search for yourself as well. Most of the time, students, the scholars have also gotten themselves their job. So sticking to ISPP, and I mean, that is the right place, because ISPP has taken and they have a training and placement cell that supports you a lot every time. But LinkedIn also has few opportunities, and why not try yourself? Maybe better than a good opportunity knocks your door, why don't you grab? So that would be my answer.
Aditya, what do you have to say?
Just add a few points to this. See, it's a valid question. I'll say that it is a valid question. You are making a huge monetary investment. You are making an investment not just into your future, but into the remainder of your life. As a UPSC aspirant, coming to ISPP is like, okay, this is what I'm going to do now. No more chances. I've given my years to training, I've studied. Now it's the time to reap benefit. So I get it when the question is posed up, कि ROI क्या रहेगा? It is not just monetary, it is also an emotional question. But then again, there are a few variables which all of us need to consider before asking that question. What are the person who's asking this question, what are you willing to do? Because you will get placement, you will get good offers, you will get to work in the area that you choose to. But maybe it's in a different city. Maybe it's not in the company that you asked for. Maybe the role is not defined exactly as you expected. You wish to be a researcher, but you also have to do licensing and client handling jobs. So you have to set expectations accordingly too. The ROI is good. Monetary concern was never an issue. The concern, and this is the last couple of years, the concern has always been key satisfaction level आपका क्या है. Are you willing to take up a job in a city that you never thought you would go to? I come from Lucknow. I've studied in 4 different places. I finally came to Delhi for ISPP. Thankfully, I got a job in Gurgaon. But I would have been open to getting a job in Madhya Pradesh, a village in Madhya Pradesh, or going to Bangalore too, or going to Kolkata, going to Chhattisgarh. Example of places that I have never been before. So I would have been open to that. I wanted to go into the social sector, but I went into VK, which was a corporate thing. Why? Because I was getting ROI at that place. So you have to look at it from that point of view. You are going to get ROI, but are you willing to make certain compromises along the way? At the end of the year, you will be getting opportunities, but maybe it's in a different company, maybe it's in a different role, maybe it's in a different description, maybe it's in a different city. So if you are ready to move, if you are ready to readjust, reacclimatize, if you are willing to say, okay, I'll only use 10% of my knowledge because that's what I'm getting to use, take that job. Take that job because, and all of you, I think, know Dr. Ladha and Rani ma'am. So that is something that I learned after my academic career got over at ICB, that okay, when you start out for a job, it is not this job. You already have your eyes set on the job that you want after this one. So spend your time building up for that job. If you want to be an independent consultant, which is what I wanted, spend your time learning the tricks, learning the ropes, observing, getting to know people, knowing how thing is done, know how you talk to clients. Just for example, if an ROI would mean 12 lakh a year salary and the role of a consultant who works on, say, urbanization issues. But the requirement for that job is that you need to have 2 to 3 years of experience in public affairs. You need to know economic analysis and you need to know how to make reports. So spend your time building up those skills and then you'll get the exact job opportunity that you want. So ROI is there and it's really good, but you have to be patient. That's my answer.
Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Snehal. I think it was a meaningful discussion as well as, and I hope that most of the questions that we receive are answered by you guys, because I think you are the best people to answer those questions. Having said that, for the audience who wanted to connect to our alumni, we are all present on LinkedIn. Please reach out to them on LinkedIn. You can follow the LinkedIn page of ISPP. You'll find everybody, Aditya, Snehal, and all of our alumni there. You can connect, hear their stories, answer your questions directly. Having said that, I would like to thank both of you for taking out some time, being a part of the discussion today. That means a lot to us, and I'm sure for the audience as well. And to the audience as well for joining us today. So thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Snehal. And
thank you, Kuhu.
And we would love to have you on the campus soon.
Sure. We would love that too. We would love that too.
Okay, perfect. Then let me arrange something and I'll make sure that you're there in the campus and we are having a good discussion. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone. And good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Kuhu.
Thank you.